Hi, welcome to 7 Facts. You've just stumbled upon the channel that holds hundreds of videos about this world's countries and states. If you're new here, I urge you to subscribe. There's no shortage of content, I promise. Bihar is one of the states that make up India. By size, it's not the biggest, somewhere between the size of Hungary and South Korea. But population-wise, this place is jam-packed. Almost 104 million people live in Bihar, which means that, on average, 1,102 people live in every square kilometer of the state. This has taken its toll on the economy, and since the 1970s, Bihar has lagged far behind other Indian states in terms of social and economic development. The state government has, however, made significant strides in developing the state. Improved governance has led to an economic revival in the state through increased investment in infrastructure, better healthcare facilities, greater emphasis on education, and a reduction in crime and corruption. But there is still a long way to go. In ancient and classical India, the area that is now Bihar has been considered a center of power, learning, and culture. One of the greatest minds of history came from this place, Aryabhatta. He was a brilliant mathematician and astronomer, author of many mathematical works. He was one of the first to conceptualize zero and null coefficients in math, which is incredibly important, as any mathematician would tell you. He was also able to very closely approximate the value of pi, and correctly insisted that the Earth rotates about its axis daily, thus the apparent movement of the stars is a relative motion caused by the planet's rotation. One other important figure of Bihar was Vatsyayana. He was a great philosopher and author of many books, and one of them is quite famous, the Kamasutra. Contrary to Western popular perception, the Kamasutra is not exclusively a sex manual. It presents itself as a guide to a virtuous and gracious living that discusses the nature of love, family life, and other aspects pertaining to pleasure-oriented faculties of human life. The Kamasutra, in parts of the world, is presumed or depicted as a synonym for creative sexual positions, but in reality, only about 20% of the Kamasutra is about sexual positions. The majority of the book is about the philosophy and theory of love, what triggers desire, what sustains it, and how and when it is good or bad. Bihar is the place from where the concept of non-violence originated, the most enchanting thought in the history of mankind. Lord Mahavira, a savior and spiritual leader in Jainism, was one of those who raised this idea millennia ago. At the age of 30, abandoning all worldly possessions, he left his home in pursuit of spiritual awakening. Mahavira taught that the observance of the vows of non-violence, truth, non-stealing, chastity, and non-attachment is necessary to spiritual liberation. Another great figure of Bihar was Siddhartha Gautama, more commonly known as Buddha. He is believed by Buddhists to be an enlightened teacher and was, of course, the one on whose teachings Buddhism was founded. One of the greatest religious festivals of humanity is Chhath. It is an ancient Hindu festival native to Bihar but also Jharkhand and Uttar Pradesh. The Chhath ritual is dedicated to the sun and his wife Usha in order to thank them for bestowing the bounties of life on earth and to request the granting of certain wishes. The rituals of the festival are rigorous and are observed over a period of 4 days. They include holy bathing, fasting, and abstaining from drinking water, standing in water for long periods of time, and offering prasad or prayer offerings to the setting and rising sun. Bihar should be on the list of every traveler to India. It is a state that has many historic sites. One of them is the Mahabodhi Peepal tree in Bodhgaya. This is an object of reverence for millions of Buddhists around the world and is in many ways the birthplace of Buddhism. At the shade of the tree, Gautama Buddha is said to have attained nirvana. The tree is actually a descendant of the original one, planted in 1881. But even so, roughly 2 million pilgrims visit this site every year. In ancient times, there have been several places that represented a hub for knowledge, like the Library of Alexandria or Baghdad. But I'm sure not many of you have heard of Nalanda University and its library. This ancient center of higher learning was the principal seat of learning from the 5th century to 1193. In that year, Turkish Muslim invaders, the Mamluks, ransacked and destroyed Nalanda. Its great library is reported to have housed more than 9 million manuscripts. It was spread over 3 large multi-storied buildings, one of them being 9 stories high and housed the most sacred manuscripts. The library burned for 3 months after the invaders set fire to the buildings, and a huge chunk of humanity's history and knowledge was lost forever. One of the most impressive buildings in Bihar, and indeed in the whole of India, is the Mahabodhi Temple. It sits next to the Mahabodhi tree and also marks the location where Buddha achieved enlightenment. The temple complex includes 2 large straight-sided shikara towers, the largest over 55 meters. This is a stylistic feature that has continued in Jain and Hindu temples to the present day and influenced Buddhist architecture in other countries in forms like the pagoda. The temple is an impressive sight to behold, and whether you're into Buddhism or not, it will surely leave its mark on your conscience. These were 7 facts about Bihar. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Leave your comments downstairs and do check me out on Facebook and Twitter. If you want to support me, consider becoming a patron. The link is in the description. I hope to see you next time. Bye.